Since time immemorial, the stories of the righteous were never just stories. They are windows into a world filled with light, faith, and wisdom. A world that teaches us how to live better, with love, humility, and joy. In every generation, there were righteous men who told tales that strengthened the heart and uplifted the soul. And these stories have remained with us, accompanying us until today. This time, we will set out together on a fascinating journey, following in the footsteps of one of the greatest sages of the East, our teacher, Rabbi Yosef Chaim of Baghdad, known to us all as the Ben Ish Chai.
About 200 years ago, in the city of Baghdad in Babylonia, there lived a great and respected rabbi named Chacham Eliyahu Chaim. Every Friday, he would give his young children a few coins so they could go to the market and buy sweets for Shabbat. The children would happily take the coins, run to the market, and return with sweet treats. After the Shabbat meal, the father would say to them, "This is the time to take out the sweets, bless them, and eat." Each child would take out his sweet, recite the blessing aloud, taste it, and everyone would answer Amen. But one child, Yosef Chaim, did not take out any sweets. The father asks, "Yosef Chaim, why are you not eating your sweets?" And the boy whispered,
"Father, I could not resist. I already ate them before Shabbat."
So it was the following Shabbat, and again the one after that. Week after week, all the children would take out their sweets, while Yosef Chaim sat aside with the same answer, "I couldn't resist." His sister noticed that something strange was happening, and she decided to follow him on Friday. When Friday came, their father distributed the coins. Yosef Chaim took his and quickly ran outside. His sister carefully walked after him. The market was bustling with people, full of merchants calling out. Yosef Chaim, a small 6-year-old boy, made his way confidently through the stalls. But instead of going to the sweet stall, he went to the pita stand. He handed over the coins he had received, was given a paper bag filled with fresh, warm pitas, and ran quickly to the poor neighborhood. His sister followed him until she saw him stop in front of a dilapidated house with broken windows. He knocked gently on the door, and a poor woman, dressed in rags, opened it. Her condition was difficult, but when she received the bag of pitas, her face lit up with a wide smile. She blessed him.
"May you grow up to be a righteous man and always continue to do good deeds."
After the Shabbat meal, the children once again took out their sweets, and Yosef Chaim sat quietly. His father asked him, "Why are you not eating the sweets?" And he gave his usual reply. But this time, his sister stood up and said,
"Father, it's time you to know the truth."
Yosef Chaim blushed with shame. But his sister told how her brother would take the coins each week, buy pitas with them, and give them to a poor woman. His father, Chacham Eliyahu Chaim, was very moved and said to him,
"From now on, I will give you double the amount, half for yourself and half for charity."
But Yosef Chaim continued to give everything to the poor. And as everyone said back then, such a child would go far. Indeed, Yosef Chaim grew up to become one of the greatest sages of his generation, the Ben Ish Chai. Already at a young age, his special soul was evident, a child who gave up sweets in order to feed the hungry. His great heart became the foundation upon which his whole character was built: Torah, wisdom, and Yiras Shamayim. When he grew a little older, at the age of 8, not only his love of kindness, but also the depth of his thought became apparent. On Shabbat evening, the small house in Baghdad filled with the warm light of the Havdalah candles. Little Yosef Chaim stood beside his younger sister. Both of them so badly wanted to hold the special Havdalah candle.
"This time it's me. Last week you gave it to Yosef."
"Not true. You held it then. This time I deserve it."
Their father, Rabbi Eliyahu, looked at them with affection, his white beard shining in the light of the candle, and he smiled.
"My dear children, Don't argue. I will suggest something nice. I will ask a question. Whoever gives the correct answer will get to hold the candle. The sages arranged the blessings of Havdalah as follows. First, over the wine, then over the spices, afterwards over the candle, and only at the end, the blessing of Hamavdil, between holy and mundane. But isn't the essence of Havdalah that very blessing of Hamavdil? Why does it come at the end and not immediately after the wine?
The younger sister looked embarrassed. She didn't know what to answer. Young Yosef Chaim was silent for a moment, closed his eyes, and his lips moved in a whisper, as if repeating a teaching he had heard from his father. Suddenly he opened his eyes and said in a clear voice,
Dear Father, I have learned from you that the role of a Jew in this world is to strive to ascend higher and higher. Always to progress, always to come closer to the peak. So too in Havdalah. Each blessing comes in the order of the organs of the head. First the wine, for the mouth, then the spices, for the nose. Afterwards the candle, for the eyes. And finally, the Havdalah blessing, for the mind, for wisdom, the highest place. This way we rise higher and higher until we reach the summit.
The father looked at his young son with emotion, small tears glistening in his eyes. He placed his hand on his head and said,
My son, your wisdom is beyond your years. Your words are pearls of truth. Fortunate is my lot to have merited such a son.
And of course, that very evening, little Yosef Chaim proudly held the Havdalah candle as the flames flickered with golden light and lit up his shining face. The face of a child destined to become one of the great sages of Israel. He not only possessed a compassionate heart, but also a sharp mind and a thirst for spirituality. Yosef Chaim grew to become a great halachic authority, the author of many books, foremost among them his work Ben Ish Chai, in which he combined Jewish law with ethics, mystical wisdom, and insights for daily life. What stood out in him was not only the depth of his knowledge, but also his warmth, humility, and concern for every Jew, from the simplest to the greatest. Rabbi Yosef Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai, was renowned for his captivating sermons. Every Shabbat, crowds would flock to the synagogue to hear him, and for hours they would listen with devotion to his words. 4 times a year, before Shavuot, before Yom Kippur, before Purim, and before Pesach, he would deliver a special sermon. Then, the entire city of Baghdad would gather, fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, nearly 10,000 people. The sermon would last 4 continuous hours. The heat in Baghdad was very intense, and of course, there were no air conditioners. Nevertheless, the Ben Ish Chai would wear 8 different garments, like the high priest, and deliver his sermon with seriousness and depth. On his right and left stood 2 men holding large leaves, fanning him to ease the heat a little and allow him to speak comfortably. And a wondrous miracle occurred. Throughout those entire 4 hours, even the small children, who could not understand the full depth of his words, sat transfixed and listened. Not a sound of disturbance was heard. Everyone, young and old alike, quietly absorbed the light of his Torah. And this is the Ben Ish Chai, a righteous sage whose wisdom, humility, and the light of his Torah continue to shine for generations until today.